Hey Destiny Church, today we're going to be in Luke chapter 14 verses 25 through 27 and this might be one of the most confusing passages in the Gospels. But let's take a moment, unpack it. We're going to start in verse 25. And in verse 25 it says, "Now large crowds were going along with him being Jesus, and he turned and said to them, 'If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, and yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple.'" What? Well, verse 27 continues, "Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple." Now, what in the world is Jesus talking about here? He's been talking and teaching about how we are to love people and even love our enemies. But here, it seems he's telling us to hate those that are even closest to us and even hate ourselves. And here's a thought. How am I supposed to love my neighbor as myself if I'm to hate my own life? Well, here's what we need to understand about what is written. See, in Hebrew, the word hate doesn't necessarily mean animosity or anger against, but it really means hate in the sense of preference, to prefer something over another. In other words, Jesus is saying, if you're going to follow me, you're going to have to give preference to me first and give me preference foremost over everything else in your life. And not just first in a chronological sense or in a linear kind of compartmentalized way that we can be so good at, right? What Jesus is saying is that he wants to be first in every part of your life. And it's in this sense, not that we just give him our first day of the week and go to church and then forget about him the rest of the week, or we give him the first 30 minutes of our day and then, well, it's off to work and I'm not going to think about him again. Or even the thought that I'm going to give God 10% of my income in tithe, but spend the remaining 90% on whatever I want. So that's not what Jesus is saying we are to do. See, it's much more than that. In fact, Paul teaches us in Colossians chapter 1 that Jesus created all things, he sustains all things, and through his death and resurrection, he reconciles all things to God through himself in order that he would have preeminence in everything. So not just him first and then spouse second, kids third, job fourth. No, Jesus wants to be first in everything. First in our marriage, first in our kids, first in our jobs, first in our finances, first in everything. So even in the example of finances, we don't just give God 10% when we tithe, but also put him first in the remaining 90%. We spend in a way that puts him first, not us and our agenda and our wants. See, we're giving him preeminence. Let me ask you this, as Christians, as believers, can people say that there are things in your life that you have put precedence on, things that you have devoted your life to where Christ wasn't first in that area of your life? When people see how much you're willing to sacrifice and put effort into your life, do they say, man, these people sure do love Christ? To give up so much, to go through so much and give up all those things. See, because what this verse really means for us as believers is not that we are called to hate other people. In fact, it teaches us the exact opposite of what it seems to be saying on the surface. Because by giving Christ preference in my life, I'm actually going to love my neighbor more because of Christ. See, a lot of times we love people in response to their love for us, but now putting him first, see, that's got nothing to do with it. I'm loving you because I'm taking up my cross and I'm going to suffer for you because of my love for Christ. And so by hating you compared to my love for Christ, I'm actually going to love you more because I'm giving Christ preeminence in all things in my life. But the question is, when people see our lives, do they see that we're willing to suffer for Christ? To suffer not in the sense of persecution, but in the sense of sacrifice. Are we willing to give Christ preeminence, to put him first, not just sequentially in our life, but first in every area of our life? That's my challenge for you today, Destiny Church. What area or areas of your life do you need to set aside your preferences and make Christ the number one priority and give him preeminence so that he is first, not just in your life, but in all aspects of your life. God bless.